Okay, welcome back to the BSG Automotive channel. Today we have a 1998 Chevy Malibu that has a driver's side window that will just not go up or down. You press the button and there's no response at all. Now the common failure on these is for the cable on the regulator to actually snap and then of course start binding up inside of there. With that though, usually the window will drop down, the glass will drop down, or you'll actually get a grinding noise either forward or reverse on the window motor, and you'll be able to hear there's actually power in the switch and everything seems to be working fine. The window's just not moving. Not the case with this one. The other common failure is for the switch itself to wear out, especially the master switch because it gets used so often. Anytime the vehicle is actually operated, the driver's window is most likely be used. Now, today we're going to show you how to change out the master window switch, but first I want to show you how to actually diagnose it without any special tools. We're just going to use our brains and our little finger and see what's going on. Okay, so here is the master window switch and the driver's side door, and we're going to show you how to actually test for those worn or corroded contacts on there. Now there's two different ways you can diagnose this, and either one should be able to tell you if the switch itself is the problem. So what you can do is come over here, have the key on. We're going to test out the other windows first off. Okay, we got power coming into the switch, everything seems fine, okay. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to see, as you can see here, if there's still no response from that switch. Okay, the window is dead. At this point, what you want to do is take your thumb or your finger and really lean into the switch, either down or up. Of course, if it's all the way up, you want to make sure that you press down and put some weight into it. I mean, really like lean into it and see if you can get that contact to actually work inside of there. Okay. Now, if that does not work, what you can do is stab the switch with your finger repeatedly, and I mean hard. And what this will do is it'll get that slight contact, that slight arc, where we have actual current flow to move the window, motor, and of course the glass. Now, while you're doing this, you need to really pay attention to that glass. It's going to come down out of nowhere in very small increments. I mean very small. So pay attention to the glass while you're doing this. This is the way it looks. You're actually going to be stabbing it, and I mean hard, like you could hurt your finger hard, either up or down, and you'll start to see that movement of the window on there. At that point, you can hear the window motor's working, there's no grinding, the glass is moving, we know we need to go after the switch. So let's go ahead and start taking the switch out and get this thing fixed so we can use the window once again. Now the switch itself, I do not recommend Dorman units or any other aftermarket in general, and this applies to just about anything electronic for any manufacturer, Ford, GM, Chrysler. You want to use OEM for as long as possible, as long as they're made. And these are only like $100 online. Maybe you can get them cheaper some other places, and this will fix it and fix it right. So just a note on that. Now, like I said, this procedure does apply to other GM vehicles because they're all built pretty much the same to commonize the process and repairs. So what you want to do, because these do have metal clips here, here, and definitely up here, is just get underneath the trim right here and start pulling them up gently. You don't want to rip it out because it's going to be hooked on here and you might tear up the pleather and everything else. So what you want to do is get underneath it with a trim tool like this, press in on that metal tang, okay, and then start lifting up. Otherwise it might get hooked on here and start binding up on there and stuff like that. So same thing over here, and it's gonna be tight coming past right here, but it does come out pretty easy. Now once you start getting this side out right here, the top part obviously loses tension and it's going to start to come out and come out real easy after that. Just watch it, because right here, it's a thin portion of it right here, and that's a good flex point for it to snap your trim panel. So just be careful, take your time getting it out. I like to give it a little wiggle. See the top popped out there, and so did this one. At this point, get your trim tool out here so you don't scratch anything up, and we can start fishing it out of here. Now on the back side here, here's the two connectors for the switch itself. And there's little black retaining clips right here, and of course on this side of this one. So you push in the retaining clip and then you pull out on the connector and pull it out of there. And these cannot be crisscrossed, so don't worry about that. Just pull them out and concentrate on getting them out without breaking this locking tab. Now what I use for that is a small flat blade screwdriver. So what I'll do is I'll get in here and I'll start pushing it up, okay, with that locking tab, and then you can start working it out just like so, okay. And then the same thing over here. If you want to really get it past, like you see here, it's already past there, and then you can just concentrate on getting it out of there. Now in this case, we're going to pull this one out too, so we can have this trim piece in our hand. We can get this old switch out of it without ruining any of the locking points on here. So let's go ahead and get this one out the same way. They're all the same style on the GMs, it seems. And get this thing swapped out. Okay, now once it's out of here, like I said, you want to disconnect it over here from the mirror switch and all that, because you want to really concentrate on the bench or in your hand there on pulling back these locking tabs right here and of course on the other side, so you can pull this switch out of the housing. Be very, very careful. It's a hard plastic and you do not want to snap these off, because then the switch, of course, every time you press it, it's going to fall through and it's going to be a shoddy repair. So let's go ahead and be very careful, prying each one of these out all the way around and get this switch out of here. Now what I like to do to get them past there while you're working this is to get underneath here with a small flat blade screwdriver or pick, okay? You're going to pull it back just enough and you're going to push down like you just saw right there with the button right here. So we're pushing the switch through. Okay, so that was that one. Here's this one. Again, take your time and be careful. We got to pull it up a little bit, just enough to pull it up and get it past, and then we're going to push on the switch button. Okay, and we're going to get it past there without any damage. There it goes. So that one's passed, and I want to kind of make sure the other side stays out like that. Okay, and then we're going to come at this one from the back side, pull it out just enough. I know lighting's getting bad, and then we can get this one up and past over here. Now that one's basically out over there, so let's go ahead and get this one out, because this one's not at an angle like the other one. So again, just high enough. Okay, we got it out, and just enough over here, and there we go, we got it out of there. Now at this point, you may want to clean inside of here before you snap that new switch in. Now going back together, take your trim piece, support it on the other side, because you can see there's a lot of thin points on here. Line it up, okay? And then you just lamp your little tabs and your locks all the way around. Looks good. And push it in evenly all the way around on there. Okay, that one went in. This one back here and over here is still sticking out. So we'll make sure we get those ones in. Now the one thing that I do is I put a little bit of the electrical grease, not dielectric grease, but the electrical grease on the pins for the window motors. Okay, you can see it's all a bunch of them different here for different circuits, and sure, why not for the mirror switch too. The reason being is this door is exposed to a lot of weather, opening and closing and rain, snow, all that kind of stuff, dust storms depending on where you live, and there's a lot of chances for corrosion to happen on these pins, and then it gets really expensive changing these pigtails out. So the stuff I use is XG12 from Motorcraft, and I'll link to all the stuff down below. You just need a light coating on here. Not only does it help lubricate it so that you get it in there all the way, and we fully snap in that connector, but it'll also protect it from corrosion on there. And these ones look pretty good, so let's take care of them and put a light layer on there. Okay, so that's good to go. And then you just go ahead and start snapping your connections back in. Start up here, and like I said, these are all keyed differently, so you cannot put them in the wrong spot. And you want to click them in, or insert them in until they snap like that. That's working already. can see they're pushed in all the way, and then of course check your locks on there to make sure they're in all the way. Now before installing this back into there, let's go ahead and test out our window motor. Works good. Now what I do, I start the vehicle up a little bit, get some voltage going here, is I'll use it quite a few times, okay? So you know that the repair you just did was not a fluke. So I'll go up and down quite a few times. And then of course check the other windows and make sure everything else is fine on there also. There you go. Now at this point, let's go ahead and tilt you back down. All you need to do is stuff your wires back into the door like so. Make sure nothing gets pinched in there and it's fully inserted. And then each one of these clips will just kind of go in and lock for you. Okay, so you just kind of put it into there. Do the top one first. I like to do the side one. And then we'll go all the way down. Now what you may notice right here is you see a little bit of the actual pleather sticking up, and that's because the switch can move around inside of there. So when you're done, go ahead and slide the switch back this way so the pleather can go underneath it. Just like so. And there it is. Installed and working once again. I hope this helped you guys out.